Greetings. So today I would like to talk to you about vulnerable road users. I was doing the vulnerable road users course last week, and I'm currently in the process of writing another one. So vulnerable road users, cyclists, pedestrians and stuff. And there's lots of content out there for these courses. One thing I always say to drivers, professional drivers in these courses, and we do one about social media, is how you always need to be on the lookout and aware that there are people out there that create situations or make situations worse because they want a viral video. That is so common these days. It's sort of the new cash for crash. Cash for crash has sort of died off, hasn't it, since the advent of dash cameras being cheap. But it's sort of a new one for that, from a professional point of view. You just have to be aware. So I've always been very laid back. I'm not a particularly angry person. I don't really get road rage. I think maybe that's because I started out on buses and coaches. Yeah, I don't. But a lot of drivers do, and you can get why. And never more angry do people get than with cyclists. There's a lot of bad blood between cyclists and drivers, and professional drivers especially. And part of the reason there's bad blood is because of absolute fucking morons like Jeremy Vine. Let's watch a video. So this van dangerously going over the road. Look, yeah, I don't think it's barely over the white line. That's a whole load of drama made out of nothing. Like that, in my world, wouldn't even warrant saving. I'd just delete it. Like, that's such a non-event. It's ridiculous. And he gets all uppity and shouty about it. Oh my god, like somebody's just tried to stab him in the face. But there we are. Next. And then have this ridiculous one where he almost plows into a car. Entirely self-inflicted, this one. He's a prime example of somebody out there looking for problems and creating problems and making problems where there aren't problems. That car is indicating well in advance, red lights, brake lights on. I would have expected that if I was in a lorry or a car to have done exactly the same thing in front of me. But because he's on a bicycle and he's got some sort of sense of massive entitlement, he thinks they should have just... it's just like ridiculous. And now finally to the grand idea of this absolutely ridiculous one. Again, he was far enough back, the van was pulling way back when. The van would have probably done the same for a car. But then for some unknown reason, well no, it is a known reason, he's done it to get views and to start an argument. He goes around the van and then stops immediately behind it. And then starts banging on the doors like that's going to have any fucking effect. Like, he completely engineered that situation. Look, it's far enough. If I would have expected that van to pull across there, even if a car or a truck was coming. And then he stops. Why did he stop? Why did he stop there? He literally just to get views. He's a supposedly clever, intelligent man, supposedly. But how the fuck can you not see that the way you get people to improve and understand each other is by bringing them together? All that happens with morons like this and various others on here is they drive people away. That's all that happens. You get on the one side, say for instance, truck drivers, and then on the other side you've got morons like Jeremy Vine. And they're all bitching and having a go at each other because they're all as bad as each other, frankly. If you wanted to change things, and if Jeremy Vine actually had any sense, he would realise that doing it in a more grown-up fashion, explaining issues, being reasonable with people, not just shouting at them, not stopping and creating situations that wouldn't actually be situations without his engineering them, and things will change. Like, if we all start to understand each other's mindsets, because I don't have a problem with cyclists. Like I say to people in London, for instance, where there's lots of cyclists, I would rather have 10 cyclists in front of me than the 10 cars they potentially have taken off the road. Not a problem. I get people's problem with the fact they're not trained in a way same drivers are as well, but it's just stop being fucking twats, Jeremy, and the rest of you. And the other thing is, like, that stuff like that and shit like that, and he probably has lost people jobs, is impacting people's jobs. And at worst, like, any bits of those were minor errors in driving. None of them were particularly bad. And that last one was completely self-inflicted, in my opinion. So yeah, And that's the motto of this video. Jeremy Vine is a twat. I bid you good day. I'm just funny out at the end, because I think the biggest issue there with cyclists is people riding badly is, I don't think the standard of bike riding is necessarily worse than the standard of car driving. The thing is, like I say to people, as a lorry driver, a professional driver generally, I'm not saying everybody does this, but you look ahead, much further ahead than a car driver might. Most car drivers only look as far as the end of their bonnet. So the reason that these situations become problematic for somebody like Jeremy Vine is, he doesn't see them developing in a way that a professional driver might see them developing. If he got off his arse and did some more driver training, he probably would maybe be a better cyclist. But that's the problem. He's basically looking too in front of his wheel, like most car drivers. That's the biggest problem.